Lake Vostok is a unique environment on Earth. It's a big lake of liquid water about the size of Lake Ontario under more than 2 miles of ice in the heart of the Antarctic.
4,000 meters beneath the oldest, most brutal ice on Earth, something is alive. Not dormant, not simple bacteria, but an active, organized presence that defies every known rule of biology and physics. This is the story of Lake Vostok, a liquid vault sealed for 20 million years, and the Russian mission that cracked its ancient ice shield. They didn't find frozen silence. They uncovered a terrifying alien ecosystem that was immediately classified and hidden from the world in a global, high-stakes cover-up. Scientists had hoped this untouched abyss might harbor primitive life. Instead, they found a sealed world that responded to their intrusion with what can only be described as awareness. It was a discovery so shocking, so fundamentally impossible, that it ended a multi-year mission in a single terrifying moment. But long before the drill reached the water, the lake gave its first hostile warning. The ghost in the machine, early warnings. The first true sign that this environment was unlike anything else on Earth didn't come from a deep-sea vehicle. It came from a simple, early survey attempt back in 2001. A small remote vehicle was lowered into a narrow test shaft to study the upper layers of the ice. The screens in the control room showed the drone moving normally at first. Then came the impossible data spike. The pressure spike rose so sharply and suddenly that the operators panicked. This wasn't the slow, gradual movement of a glacier shifting. This was a violent, deliberate jump that smashed the equipment, causing the drone to lose control and crash somewhere deep inside the shaft. Engineers quickly blamed unstable ice conditions. But a few skeptical researchers questioned that explanation. They noted the speed and intensity of the spike was too deliberate, too organized to be natural. This early, unexplained accident was a mere ripple compared to the dark phenomena that waited years later for the main Russian team and their powerful deep ice drill. It hinted that the territory above Lake Vostok already behaved in ways that were actively hostile to human equipment. The descent into chaos, unexplained resistance. The Russian team, backed by years of research and powerful, custom-built thermal drills, arrived prepared for difficulty, but not for sabotage. The moment the drill crossed into the oldest layers of ancient ice, the sense of confidence changed. As the drill advanced, the power readings began to spike in ways that made no sense to the engineers. The machinery would run smoothly for several minutes, then suddenly draw far more energy than expected, almost as if hitting an invisible temporary resistance. They checked for mechanical faults, but the machinery was fine. Some members of the team privately wondered if the ice itself was creating unpredictable resistance. Others suggested something beneath the ice was actively interfering with the equipment. The mechanical glitches soon became routine. Motors stalled and restarted at random, and small alarms triggered without clear cause. Compounding the stress, the communication lines linking the drilling platform to the main station began to flicker, with voices breaking into static and messages repeating strangely. The team then recorded vibrations deep inside the borehole that did not match any machinery cycle. The instruments detected a rhythmic, pulsing shake far deeper down. The pattern repeated at irregular intervals. It felt too deliberate, too organized to be just the natural shifting of ancient ice. The team knew they were running out of time before winter, and they refused to stop. The impossible architecture. A cavern. Not of ice. After years of work, when the team finally broke through the final layer of ancient ice, they expected to see a normal, open pocket of water. Instead, their first major radar scan returned a truly impossible signature. It showed a large, hollow space beneath the lake that did not match any natural gap or fracture. The structure looked cavernous, deep, and large. But the real shock came when they analyzed the shape. Some sections appeared unnervingly smooth on the radar display, and the shapes looked curved and repeated in a way that made several experienced researchers uneasy. Natural ice caves are jagged and uneven. These formations looked too regular, almost designed. When the team used short-range sonar, the results grew even more disturbing. The returning signals came back with irregular patterns, suggesting the surfaces were shifting slightly. These anomalies repeated every time the sonar was activated. This combination of unnaturally smooth internal structures on the radar and surfaces that moved under sonar convinced the scientists that this was not a simple geological feature. It was clear this wasn't geology, but a silent alarm that confirmed that it wasn't empty either. The moment the first probe was lowered into the dark, the mission moved into dangerous unknown territory. First contact. The pulse in the abyss. When the camera crossed into the cavern, the screen was an absolute black void. The space was far larger than they had predicted. Then, a thin cloud of sediment drifted into view, moving in a slow, unsettled pattern. Some thought the probe stirred it, others felt a growing dread. Realizing the pattern looked as if something massive had passed through the water, moments before the probe arrived. The fear solidified when a sudden, sharp ripple cut through the probe's light beam. Something had undeniably pushed the water in a deliberate way. The operators checked every instrument, no currents, no flow. Nothing in the environment could have caused that specific motion. It behaved like a response from something that had moved just beyond the edge of the light. Pressure sensors then confirmed the worst. A slow, rhythmic pattern deep inside the hollow, like a steady pulse, repeating in long, organized intervals. Then, a truly alien sign. A faint, bioluminescent glow appeared far in the distance. It flashed for only a moment, vanished, and then flashed again. The camera hadn't moved close enough for a clear reading, but the pulse and the vanishing light convinced the team that the cavern held a living presence. Before they could retrieve the probe, the water samples themselves provided undeniable, active evidence that cemented the danger. The living water, proteins that defy Earth. The moment the probe surfaced, the water clinging to it wasn't just wet. It released tiny electrical readings. This wasn't normal lake water, it was generating measurable charges. The technicians froze. Inside the lab, the first examination revealed thin, dark strands. These weren't dead cells. They were active biological threads that curled and moved. When exposed to light, one strand tightened with a slow, deliberate pull. A motion one specialist whispered resembled a reflex. Spectroscopy confirmed the impossible. Complex proteins that did not match any known organism on Earth. These belonged to an ecosystem that evolved in complete, total isolation. Crucially, the samples remained active for hours, continually responding to light and temperature changes, far longer than any normal microbe. The team was now convinced they were studying a functioning biological system showing organized, purposeful activity, setting the stage for the final, terrifying confrontation, the engineered presence. Metallic and aware. The final probe descended, its strong lights cutting the abyss. They struck something that stopped everyone cold. A hard, angled surface reflecting light like polished metal. It had clean, perfect edges, rising from the floor at an unnatural angle. It looked engineered, but this was no machine. The structure flexed. Thin lines along the armor-like surface tightened, and the whole mass pushed outward, slowly, deliberately, like a massive, controlled breath. The sonar wavered as the shape shifted, briefly expanding on the screen. The fear spiked again, a broad, flexible, organic-looking shape then slid from behind the metallic armor. Its movement was smooth and controlled. It looked aware. This was not rock or a simple organism. It was a massive, hybrid life form, covered in biological armor that appeared metallic. The room erupted. Pressure sensors confirmed continuous, massive biological activity surrounding the probe at every angle. The team finally knew the truth. The cavern held a living, coordinated presence that reacted to their equipment with undeniable purpose. The classified silence. The shock inside the control room quickly turned to panic. The situation had moved beyond a scientific mission. It was now a containment emergency. Before the team could make their next move, authorities arrived and immediately took control. The mission was shut down, and every piece of data, the footage of the metallic organic presence, the water samples, and every record of the probe's final descent was seized and classified. The world heard nothing about the living, metallic presence under Lake Vostok. The official statements were silent, but the footage raises questions that have never been answered. If the structure was natural, why does it move with a slow, deliberate breath? If it was engineered, who put it there? Sealed for 20 million years. And if it is alive, what else could be waiting in that massive, lightless world beneath the ice? If this deep dive into the unknown shocked you, make sure you're subscribed to Mysteries Uncovered Files and turn on notifications. We pull back the curtain on the most classified, unbelievable secrets every week.